This podcast is fairly serious and we try not to talk a lot of shit. But
That's
today,
disappointing.
but today I would actually like to talk shit with you, in particular, dingo shit. How does one end up looking at dingo poo for a day job?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as a mammalogist, we are obsessed with shit. So basically, we can learn a lot from looking at it. So shit happens and it can tell us a lot. Obviously, we know that in Australia, we have these big issues with livestock loss, and there's a lot of controversy around dingoes, but also other species like feral cats and foxes and their impacts on native wildlife. They've been really devastating for a whole range of species. But by looking at what comes out of these animals, we can actually, of course, look at what animals they're eating, in what numbers, and then start to basically infer and think about what impact they might be having, whether it's on livestock or whether it's on native species. And recent work by a PhD student, Rachel Mason, in the Big Desert Wyperfeld region of northwest Victoria actually found that despite popular belief, only around 2% of the scats, so the crap basically from these dingoes, contained livestock in them, and about 7% was of foxes. So more than 3 times the amount was actually in foxes. And we know that foxes eat a lot of lambs, as an example. We're of course not denying that dingoes kill and sometimes don't even eat the livestock that occurs. But I think what it does show is that they're probably not eating livestock in the amounts that people might realise. And it's really, really important to remember that dingoes also perform really important roles in the landscape. So they're eating mostly, actually, it turns out, kangaroos and emus. As much as we love kangaroos and emus as native animals, like any ecosystem, if their numbers become too high, then we can see impacts on the environment. And in the case of kangaroos as well, of course, they can compete with livestock. We're trying to find ways, of course, to accommodate things like dingoes in the landscape for their ecological benefits, but also their cultural values, which is really important for First Nations peoples especially, but of course minimise their impact on livestock.